This is the EdExcel GCSE 91 Maths paper 3 from the foundation tier, and this paper is from the June 2024 series. Question number 1. Write 23% as a fraction. Well, 23% as a fraction, remember percentage means out of 100, so we have 23 over 100. Question number 2. Change 800 centimeters to meters. To go from centimeters to meters, we would have to divide by 100. Therefore, 800 divided by 100 is 8. So 800 centimeters is the same as 8 meters. Question number 3. Write down the value of 3 in the number 62,837. So, here we would have 30. Question number 4. Simplify 7a plus a, subtract 5a. Well, 7 plus 1 is 8, subtract 5 is 3. Therefore, we have 3a. Question number 5. We have to write the following fractions in order of size. Start with the smallest fraction. Well, what we can do is find the equivalent fraction. The lowest common multiple of 2, 3 and 4 is 12. So I'm going to rewrite all these fractions so that the denominator is 12. 1/2 is the same as 6/12. 2/3 is the same as 8 over 12. And 1/4 is the same as 3 over 12. So which one is the smallest? Well, that will be this 3 over 12, which corresponds to 1/4. After that we have 6 over 12, which corresponds to 1/2. And after that we have 2/3. Question number 6. A map has a scale of 1 centimeter represents 4 kilometers. On the map, the distance from town A to town B is 8 centimeters. Part A, work out the real distance in kilometers from town A to town B. So what we need to do is multiply the length on the map by 4. So if I do 8 multiplied by 4, we get 32. So we have 32 kilometers being the real distance. The real length of a road is 10 kilometers. Part B, work out the length of the road of the map. Give the units of your answer. So we know that 1 centimeter would represent 4 kilometers. And what we have is 10 kilometers. To go from 4 to 10, I multiply by 2.5, which means I also have to multiply the 1 centimeter by 2.5. So here we have 2.5 centimeters. Question number 7. Julie asks some students how they travel to school. The chart shows her results. Part A. Write down which method of travel is the mode. Mode means most common. The most common is bus. So the mode is bus. Part B. Most students walk to school than cycle to school. How many more? So what is the difference between cycling and walking? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5. Question number 8. Aisha was born in 1993. There was an election in the year of Aisha's 18th birthday. There is an election every 5 years. Will there be an election in 2030? You must show how you get your answer. So, she was born in 1993. On her 18th birthday, there was an election. So if I add on this 18 years, that means there was an election in 2011. And we know that there is an election every 5 years. So the next election was in 2016. After that, the next election, 2021. After that, the next election, 2026. After that, the next election, 2031. So will there be an election in 2030? There will be an election in 2031. Question number 9. Lucia is going on a skiing holiday. The cost of ski hire is £26 per day. The cost of a lift pass is £45 per day. The cost of ski lessons is £23.50 per hour. Lucia will pay for ski hire for 5 days, a lift pass for 4 days, ski lessons for 8 hours. Lucia has £500. We have to show that Lucia has enough money to pay for the total cost of ski hire, the lift pass, and the ski lessons. So, for the ski hire, that's £26 per day, multiplied by 5 days. So this is equal to £130. For the lift pass, that's £45 per day, and she's using it for 4 days, so this is equal to £180. And for the lessons, we've got £23.50 multiplied by 8. So if I work this out, we end up with £188. Now, if I add together 188, 130 and 180, I get £498. And because this is less than the £500, what we can conclude is that Lucia has enough money. Question number 10. Here is a circle. Part A, on the diagram above, draw a radius of the circle, where the radius goes from the centre to the circumference. Here is the radius, I'll call it R. Here is another circle. Part B, write down the mathematical name for the straight line inside the circle. We go from one point on the circumference to another, therefore here we have a chord. Question number 11. There are 8 episodes in a TV series. Each episode lasts for 45 minutes. Work out the total time that the 8 episodes last. Give your answer in hours. So I've got 8 episodes at 45 minutes each, so I have to multiply 8 by 45 minutes. And altogether I get 360 minutes. Now to go from hour to minute and minutes to hours times by 60, you have to divide by 60. So 360 divided by 60 is 6. So here we have 6 hours. Question number 12. Write down 3 prime numbers that are in between 20 and 40. So let's write down the numbers between 20 and 40 inclusive. Here are the numbers between 20 and 40 inclusive. So which is a prime number? Well, 23 is a prime number, 29 is a prime number, 31 is a prime number, and 37 is a prime number. So we can choose any of these numbers. So we could have 23, 29 and 31. Question number 13. James asked students in Year 10 and Year 11 to name their favourite language from French or German or Spanish. The two-way table shows information about his results. We have to complete the two-way table. So for us to complete the two-way table, well, let's find out the total in Year 10. 207 take away 113 is equal to 94. 94 subtract 34 subtract 33 is 27, so we have 27 German Year 10. 67 take away 34, that's equal to 33, so we have 33 Spanish Year 11. 113 take away 33 take away 45, that's equal to 35, so we have 35 French Year 11. 33 plus 35 is 68, so we have 68 for French in total. 27 plus 45, that's equal to 72, so we've got 72 German in total. Here is the two-way table completed. Question number 14. The table gives information about the drinks people ordered in a cafe, and what we have to do is draw an accurate pie chart for this information. Let's see how many people we have in total. 30 plus 10 is 40, plus another 50 is 90. So we've got 90 people in total. Now we know that angles around a point sum to 360. So to go from 90 to 360, multiply by 4. So 30 multiplied by 4 is 120. So we've got 120 degrees for coffee. 10 times by 4 is 40, so we've got 40 degrees for hot chocolate. And 50 times by 4 is 200. So we've got 200 degrees for tea. Here is the completed pie chart. Question number 15. Which is greater, 15% of 88 or 20% of 62? You must show you're working. Well, let's work out this amount. 0.15 times 88 is 13.2. 0.2 multiplied by 62 is 12.4. So here we get 12.4. Which is greater? This one. Therefore, 15% of 88 is greater than 20% of 62. Question number 16, part A. Simplify m times m times m times m. Here we would have m to the power of 4. In a competition, a player gets 5 points for each game they win, 2 points for each game they draw, and 0 points for each game they lose. Amy wins X games and draws Y games. Part B, write down an expression in terms of X and Y for the total number of points Amy gets. Well, 5 points for each game they win, so here, in total, we would have 5x plus, and then 2 points for each game they draw. We draw Y games, so we add on 2y. Here is an expression for the total number of points. Question number 17. Here are the ingredients to make 20 shortbread biscuits. We need 120 grams of butter, 200 grams of flour, and 50 grams of sugar. Hedy wants to make 30 shortbread biscuits. How much of each ingredient would Hedy need? Well, what is our scale factor? To go from 20 shortbread biscuits to 30 shortbread biscuits, our scale factor will equal 30 divided by 20, which is 1.5. So I need to multiply each of these ingredients by 1.5. So if I do 120 times 1.5, I get 180, so I've got 180 grams of butter. If I do 200 multiplied by 1.5, I get 300, so I've got 300 grams of flour, and if I do 50 multiplied by 1.5, I get 75. So I've got 75 grams of sugar. Question number 18, part A, rotate the shaded shape 180 degrees about 0, 0. Well, if we do that, we end up with this shape here. Mike was asked to reflect shape A in the line with equation x equals 3. Mike's answer is shown on the grid. Explain why he's wrong. So x equals 3 is this vertical line. And if you were to reflect shape A, we would get this shape over here. It's actually reflected in this line of y equals 3. So it's reflected in y equals 3, not x equals 3. Question number 19. On the grid below, draw the graph of y equals 3x minus 2 for values of x from minus 2 to 3. So what we need to do to begin with is construct a table of values. So we've got x and y. So we've got x values going from minus 2 to 3, so we've got minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So let's find the corresponding y coordinates. When x is equal to minus 2, y is equal to minus 6 minus another 2, so that's minus 8. When x is minus 1, we've got minus 3 minus 2, which is minus 5. When x is 0, y is minus 2. When x is 1, we've got 3 minus 2, which is 1. When x is 2, we've got 6 minus 2, which is 4. And when x is equal to 3, y is equal to 9 minus 2, which is 7. So now let's plot these points and draw a straight line. So we've got this line shown here. Question number 20. ABC and BCD are isosceles triangles. AB is equal to BC, which is equal to CD, and the angle CAB is equal to 81 degrees. The angle BCD is 4 times the angle ABC. We have to find the ratio of the size of the angle ABC to the size of the angle CBD. Give your answer in the form 1 to n. You must show all your working. Well, we know that the base angles in an isosceles triangle are equal. So this angle here will also equal 81. So to find out what this angle is, we need to do 180 minus 81 minus 81, which is 18. So this angle is 18. Now we know that the angle BCD is 4 times this angle. So if I do 4 times by 18, I get 72, meaning this angle is 72. Now I need to find out the missing angles here. Well, because we've got an isosceles triangle and the base angles in an isosceles triangle are equal, if I do 180 take away 72 and then divide by 2, I get 54. So here we get 54 and here we get 54. So now the size of the angle ABC, which is 18, to the angle CBD, which is 54, we need to write this ratio in the form 1 to n. And if I divide both sides by 3, we get, rather 18, we get 1 to 3. So the ratio is 1 to 3. Question number 21, part A. Factorize 6x minus 15. The highest common factor is 3. So here we get 3 multiplied by, and here I've got 2x because 2x times 3 is 6x. And here I'd have minus 5 because 3 times minus 5 is minus 15. Part B, factorise m squared plus 5m. M is the highest common factor, so I've got m multiplied by m, which gives f squared, and m times by 5, which is 5m. Question number 22, we have to find the highest common factor of 63 and 15. So if I think about 63, I can write this as a product of its prime factors. 3 times by 21 gives 63, 3 is a prime number and 21 isn't. The 21 we can split up further as 3 times by 7. If I think about the 105, I can split this up as 3 times by 35. 3 is a prime number, 35 isn't, but the 35 I can split up as 5 times by 7. So for the highest common factor, what is common to both? Well, I've got this 7, which is common to both, and I've also got this 3, which is common to both. So the highest common factor is equal to 7 multiplied by 3, which is 21. Question number 23, part A for the first part. We have to write 5.3 times 10 to the 4 as an ordinary number. Well, if I've got this 5.4, I need to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. So the decimal point goes here. And then we've got 0, 0, 0 here. So I've got 53000. For the next part, we've got 7.4 times 10 to the minus 5. So if I've got the 7.4, I need to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 0.000074. So I've got 0.000074. Part B. Calculate the value of 9.7 times 10 to the 6 plus 2.45 times 10 to the 7. There's various different ways you can do this. I've got this 2.45 times 10 to the 7. And what I want to do with this 9.7 times 10 to the 6, I want to write it like this. Something times 10 to the 7. Now if I multiply this by 10, I need to divide this by 10. So here I'm going to have 0.97 times 10 to the 7 plus 2.54 times 10 to the 7. So now if I add together 0.97 and 2.45, I get 3.42. So I get 3.42 times 10 to the 7, and it's already in standard form. Question number 24. The diagram shows a solid triangular prism, as we see here. Rana is trying to draw the side elevation of the solid prism from the direction of the arrow. Here is her answer on a centimeter grid. We have to explain why Rana's side elevation is not correct. Well, if we're looking at it from here, if we looked at it from this face, then yeah, she'd be correct. But because she's looking at it side on, the actual height, which is this one here, will be less, and that's through Pythagoras. So the height of the triangle will be less than 4 centimeters. Part B, on the centimeter grid, draw a plan of the solid prism. Well, what it means by that is look at it from the top. Well, if this length is 6 centimeters, half of that will be 3, so I'd have 3 here and 3 here. And then I've got this length of 7. So when I look at it from the top, I'd essentially have this shape here, like a roof of a house. So we have this over here. Question number 25. A company has 25,000 workers, the number of workers increases at a rate of 6% per year for 3 years. We have to calculate the total number of workers at the end of 3 years. So we've got this 25,000 to begin with, and I'm going to multiply it by 1.06, which is our multiplier, to the power of 3, and that's because we've got 3 years. So if I do 25,000 multiplied by 1.06 to the power of 3, we end up with 29775.4. So at the end of 3 years, we'd have 29,775. Question number 26. Habib has 2 identical tins. He put 600 grams of flour into one of the tins. The flour fills the tin completely. The density of the flour is 0.6 grams per centimeters cubed. Habib puts 600 grams of salt into the other tin. The salt does not fill the tin completely. The volume of the space in the tin that is not filled with salt is 700 centimeters cubed. You have to work out the density of the salt. You must show all your working. So we know that density equals mass over volume. So we've got 2 identical tins. Now if I take a look at tin 1, which is the one with flour, I've got a density of 0.6. I've got a mass of 600 grams. So to find out the volume, we can do 600 grams divided by 0.6 grams per centimeters cubed, which will be 1000 centimeters cubed. And if I take a look at tin 2, which contains the salt, the mass is 600. He does not fill the tin completely. The volume of space in the tin that is not filled with salt is 700 grams. So that means the volume will equal 1000 take away 700, which is 300. So we've got 300 centimeters cubed. We need to find the density. So the density equals the mass over the volume. So we've got the mass, which is 600, divided by the volume, which is 300 centimeters cubed. So we end up with 2 grams per centimeters cubed as the density of salt in tin 2. Question number 27. Tim has 2 biased coins, coin A and coin B. He's going to throw both coins. The probability that coin A will land on heads is 0.6. The probability that coin B will land on heads is 0.55. We have to complete the probability tree diagram. So here, if heads for coin A is 0.6, here we'd have 0.4 for tails. For coin B, we've got 0.55 for heads. And for tails, then we'd have 0.45. Remember, probability adds up to 1. Tim throws coin A once and throws coin B once. Work out the probability that both coins land on heads. So we've got heads followed by another heads. So the probability of getting a head followed by another head is equal to 0.6 multiplied by 0.55. Which is equal to 0.33. Question number 28. A paddling pool is in the shape of a cylinder. The pool has radius 100 centimeters and the pool has depth of 30 centimeters. The pool is empty. It is then filled with water at a rate of 250 centimeters cubed per second. We have to work out the number of minutes it takes to fill the pool completely. Give your answer correct to the nearest minute. You must show all your working. So what we can do to begin with is find out the volume of the pool. So for the volume, well, we've got the area of the circle, which is pi times radius squared. So I've got pi times by 100 squared, but then I need to multiply by the depth. So let's work out the volume. I've got pi times 100 squared times 30, which is equal to, as a decimal, 942,477.7961. Now we know that we've got this rate of 250 centimeters cubed per second, so that means the time in minutes will equal this amount divided by 250. So if I divide this amount by 250, we get 3769.911184. Now we need to convert this into minutes, so to go from seconds to minutes, I would have to divide by 60. So if I divide this amount by 60, I get 62.83, etc. So we have 63 minutes. Question number 29. W equals 40 subtract t squared. We have to calculate the value of w when t equals minus 5. So we have w equals 40 subtract minus 5 squared. So we've got 40 minus 25, which is equal to 15. P equals h subtract 5 all over 3. We have to make h the subject of the formula. Let's multiply both sides to begin with by 3. That means we have 3p equals h minus 5. And now if I add 5 to both sides, that means we have 3p plus 5 equals h.